Frankly, there were a lot of questions Judge Gorsuch didn't answer in response to questions about precedent, about his judicial philosophy, and even about bedrock constitutional principles. Judge Gorsuch dodged, deflected, and obfuscated. His responses to Democratic members of this committee were cagey and evasive. Mr. Chairman, some of our questions may have been tough, but they were all fair. Judge Gorsuch has been nominated for a lifetime appointment to the highest court in the land. So my Democratic colleagues and I take seriously our responsibility to thoroughly examine his views. That's our job. That's what our constituents expect of us. And that's the point of a hearing. And I'm disappointed that Judge Gorsuch wasn't forthcoming with his answers. In the absence of answers, we have to rely on his record, and his record is not reassuring. During his time on the 10th Circuit, Judge Gorsuch has consistently ruled in favor of powerful interests. He sided with corporations over workers, corporations over consumers, over women's health. If confirmed, Judge Gorsuch would guarantee more of the same from the Roberts Court, a court that is already inclined to side with big business more than any Supreme Court since World War II. I don't believe that's a court that our country can afford. So in light of Judge Gorsuch's record, and in the absence of sufficient answers and honest answers to questions that were posed during the hearing, I oppose his nomination. And I urge my colleagues to think about that. To think about a judge when asked a straightforward question. In my judgment, did not answer truthfully. Thank you.
Today was a victory for the rule of law and also a moment of clarity. For those of us who value and cherish the Constitution and Bill of Rights, today is one step closer to Judge Neil Gorsuch being confirmed as the next Associate Justice on the Supreme Court. But it was also a moment of clarity because in the process of the Supreme Court hearings, we saw Democratic senators throw every fastball they could, use every attack they could, and end up with no meaningful criticism of Judge Gorsuch's record. A decade on the Court of Appeals, a decade following the law, following the Constitution, being faithful to his oath. The position of the Democrats, we just saw a party line vote in this Judiciary Committee where every Democrat voted no, not based on qualifications, not based on temperament, not based on anything in his record. Indeed, a decade ago, no Democrat opposed his confirmation to the Court of Appeals. What we saw today was the position of the modern Democratic Party as they are opposed to Donald Trump appointing anyone to the Supreme Court. If they will filibuster Neil Gorsuch, they will filibuster any nominee from a Republican president. That obviously is not a tenable standard for advice and consent, and that is the reason why, if the Democrats persist in this foolish filibuster, the Senate majority will have no choice but return to the standard that has prevailed for over 2 centuries in the Senate, which is confirming Supreme Court justices by a majority vote. By the end of the week, I believe Judge Gorsuch will be confirmed as the next Associate Justice, and that is a victory for the Constitution, for the Bill of Rights, for individual liberty, and for the American people.